Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at the Carnomorph expansion for Nemesis from Awakened Realms. This is a new alien race to add to your base game of Nemesis that adds in just a really nasty zombie type race that evolves from eating the biomatter of other races. And they're pretty mean guys. So we're going to get right in and take a look. I originally expected this to come in the same size box as Aftermath and the Void Seeders, but it's a little bit smaller. It's not square. It's like a third the height, maybe 2/3 the height, but it is a little bit thicker too. So, first thing we have here on top is our little rules pamphlet for it, and you have a game listing here. Notice they only show you what the models are, and then the rest is listed in text. They don't actually label out the tokens like they have in the past. But we have our new setup because things have changed slightly at setup. Some new rules for mutations and how the Carnomorphs work. A few gameplay rules because some things have changed from the base game. And then a rule summary on the back. You'll see here I have my tokens laid out on top because I did put them in cases like I did with my original game. And in doing so, they no longer fit in the slot in the tray. So that's the first of the boxes where the tray didn't sufficiently hold everything. Granted, these do add a little bit more mass and probably double or triple the size of those tokens, but that's something worth keeping in mind if you're like me and you use the capsules on your tokens. So we have our Carnomorph board. It's got the butcher there on the back. We see our different creepers are now metagorgers. Then we have the shamblers, flesh beasts, and the butchers. And then, unlike the other races here, we do not have weaknesses on here. They actually get stronger as they go, and these are adaptations, and that's not a good thing. So, got to keep an eye out for those. Then we have our eggs that go in the nest up here. Inside here, we have all our awesome models spread throughout, and there's a little token section. This is where you're supposed to fit all of these, which, like I said, once they're in the cases, they no longer fit in there. So we do have a bunch more carcass tokens. Those are the same as the ones in the base game, I believe. I'll see if I can get these guys in order. This is our butcher. It's a massive two-headed monstrosity. I think he only has one arm. But I should start at the bottom ones and work my way up, but because they do evolve. So I think I'm going to switch back down. We're going to start with the small guys here. And this is a metagorger. They are creepy looking. And you get 4 of those little guys. We're going to move these down here. If I can get them out of there. Yeah, 4 of those little guys. They look like they're on stilts. And then whenever those guys are going to basically try to jump out and bite you, and then once they have your biomatter, they're going to run away. And if you don't kill them and they actually get away, they evolve. Now next are these guys, and I guess these are more metagorgers. They just look different. So these are actually the same thing as those, but because of the way they mutate, they look completely different. So you get 4 more of those. And they are hard to get out of the box. They put them way down in this little slot. Really deep down because all 4 of them are in there. Maybe it's just because I have big sausage fingers, but I don't know if I can get those out. There we go. Looks like they have two different poses of them too. So that's kind of neat. So there are those. Then we're going to move up to our shambler, which are these guys. A little bit more humanoid looking head there. You have a big split between the two body halves where they put them together, but he has extra tentacles. Sure. Yeah, that's just a weird tentacle there. He's got one arm, one kind of scythe looking thing. Creepy guys. I don't know if they're all in the same pose. Looks like they might be. That's kind of disappointing that they had the little ones come in two different poses, but not the normal size guys here. There are a bunch of them though. That's 8 of them in total. And then we move on to our flesh beasts, which are just huge, ugly abominations. They are really creepy, and he looks like he's giving you the finger. Just noticed that. Definitely an interesting creation there. And you're actually going to get 3 of these. And from everything I've seen, these guys are basically the equivalent of the queen from the base game. And what makes it worse is one of them can turn into him, which is even worse. So that's a scary thought. For our cards, we have these Carnomorph adaptation cards. And when various things happen that are listed on the bottom of the board there, they are going to adapt and basically become stronger. I went through those pretty fast. So we have fire resistance, quickening, changeling, voracious, regenerative tissue, agile, tentacles. Those are going to make these big ugly guys even more of a problem to deal with. Then to our larger cards, we have the Carnomorph attack cards. And these work just like the attack cards for the other aliens. You're going to draw these, and instead of drawing 2 for the larger creatures in these, they have them split up. So your Metagorgers have this top amount, and your other types have this bottom amount. And then down here is the same. You have your type of creature here, the type of attack, and how much damage it's going to do. And they are a very aggressive race with a lot of nasty, nasty attacks in here. Not the kind of guys you want to meet in a dark, unexplored room on a starship. Next up, we have the event cards. This is a new deck for events that's going to be used when playing with the Carnomorphs. Just like the original event deck, but these pertain to the different nasty things that are going to happen when Carnomorphs are on board your ship. And they are just as bad, if not worse, than the ones in the base game, I think. Next up, we have something sadly lacking from the base game, and it is these help cards. Now, you had this help side was on the back of your pass cards for your characters. Explains the phases, how things go, and you can see the event phase has gotten a lot longer now because of the various things that are going to be happening in this. But on the flip side, you have a reference chart for the intruder development bag, and this is going to be used whenever you get to that development step. What you draw out of the bag, it explains what they do, so you have to keep flipping to the rule book to reference those. Again, the ones in the base game I think were printed later and in the Aftermath expansion, but they're not in the base game. And then finally we have these cards for a cool new mechanic. With the Carnomorphs, it is character mutation, and various things throughout the game are going to cause you to gain mutations. And you have this, if you're infected, you get these here. If you're not infected, you get this down here, and there's different ones in here. Some good. They have some interesting abilities. However, they can come to hurt you at the end of the game, I believe, based on the wind conditions. I'm not positive on that, but I know there's something with them at the end of the game. Kind of cool there, though. And that is a look at everything that comes in the Carnomorphs expansion for Nemesis. They're definitely a more brutal version of aliens to fight than the ones in the base game. These things are relentless, constantly growing, constantly getting stronger. As I said, these guys here are the flesh beasts, are the equivalent of the queen, which there was only one of in the other game. Now you can have 3 of them. And then they even have one step above that in the butcher back here, which I would not want to end up one-on-one with him. Overall, I think this expansion is a good addition to the game. It adds a ton more variety to the base game, albeit even harder than the aliens in the base game, I think. So if you're one of those gluttons for punishment who didn't think Nemesis was hard enough, then the Carnomorphs are definitely something you want to look into. Definitely easier than the Void Seeders by comparison, and a completely different gameplay style. These things, the smaller ones you want to engage, you want to kill as quickly as possible, because if these little guys escape, you're going to have a bad time because they're going to evolve. They're going to get stronger, and that's a bad thing. As things grow, they keep growing, getting bigger and stronger, and they can cause a lot of problems depending on what's going on the board. It can really screw with your plans because they're going to go after the eggs. They go after to eat the dead bodies. They go after to eat. And if you're trying to get the achievement where you have to take the dead body to a certain room, it can get eaten on you and really screw you over. So there's a lot of little things that you have to take into account with these. It is definitely a harder experience overall, and changes up the game in a good way. I don't think it's something you must have. Again, it's one of those weird things. I think, though, as a challenge, I think these are the most challenging enemy currently. If you're tired of playing against the same old aliens every time you play the game, you played it a ton, time to change things up a bit. Definitely worth looking into these guys. The Carnomorphs are a very interesting addition. I love the mutation aspect. I love the fact that instead of getting weaknesses discovered as the game progresses, they mutate and get stronger. So that's kind of a cool thing. And I just think it's really well executed how they set this one up. And it's definitely something I'm glad I added to my game. That is going to wrap it up for a look at the Carnomorphs expansion for Nemesis from Awakened Realms. If it looks like something you'd be interested in, definitely check it out. See if you can track it down somewhere. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.